guys, welcome to the Treasury Update Podcast Coffee Break Sessions, the show where we cover foundational Treasury topics and questions in about the same amount of time it takes you to drink your coffee. This is your host, Alexa, and I am joined today with Craig Jeffery, Managing Partner of Strategic Treasure. Welcome back, Craig.
Hey, Alexa. It's good to be here again.
So today we're going to dive into a couple new topics. I feel really smart saying this, but the first one is, what is POBO and what is ROBO? So I don't know if you just want to jump right into those, Craig, and just give us a high-level overview of what those are, what those even mean.
Sure. So the acronym POBO stands for Pay on Behalf of, and ROBO means Receive on Behalf of. And this is a general service where, one entity is paying on behalf of other entities, typically within a legal entity structure. Maybe the header company is paying for their subs. The parent entity might be paying or receiving funds on behalf of subsidiaries, or a designated entity or in-house bank makes payments or receives payments on behalf of others.
That makes sense. And for those of you listening, POBO and ROBO, those are POBO and ROBO. So can you maybe give an example of when POBO and or ROBO would be used?
Sure. So pay on behalf of is quite common now. It would be used when you want to reduce the number of bank accounts that are handling payment transactions, when you want to reduce the complexity of how many accounts, for example, you're originating payments out of, or how many entities and accounts you're originating payments out of. And this reduction in cost and in number of accounts and complexity also tends to correspond to a reduction in cost due to bank charges or some other overhead cost associated with this. This can be done through an in-house bank or a parent company, as I mentioned. On the ROBO side, or the receive on behalf of side, this is usually when you have some sort of servicing company. You might have multiple companies that have the same customers, so they can make one payment and cover 3 different billing entities or invoicing entities. And it's almost always done, it's most frequently done when you're using the same back-end system so that they can post all the payments for the different companies on the same platform. Not required, but most common.
What are some of the benefits of using POBO or ROBO? And I feel like one of them that you said was definitely a cost reducer. Are there any other benefits of using either of these?
Certainly. Decreased cost is a big issue, but lowering the overall complexity or footprint of your payments, or even on your receipt activity, is a big driver for scalability and how easy is it to do this. It obviously translates to savings, reduction in costs, but the complexity is also a pretty big driver for many organizations.
Okay, great. So I'll just do a quick recap of everything, and then you can maybe let me know if I've skipped anything or if anything else kind of pops up. So just high level, POBO and ROBO are pay on behalf of and receive on behalf of, and really it's done for entities, whether it be parents or designees. And an example of when this can be done is, like I just said, for parent companies or designees. And sometimes on the ROBO side, that's either when payers are maybe paying multiple companies at once. So it might be through a third company, or I think you said a serving company. And then some of the main benefits are really cost reduction or a lower complexity, or really just a reduced footprint to drive some of that scalability.
Yeah, I think that's good. Whether you use a servicing company or an existing entity within the corporate hierarchy, these are common ways of implementing POBO and ROBO structures.
Perfect. Well, thanks for joining me today, Craig, to cover POBO and ROBO. And to all of our listeners, thanks for joining us. And make sure you tune in every first and third Thursday of the month for a new episode. And if you have any questions, comments, feedback, or even topics, you can send us an email at podcast@strategictreasure.com. Thanks again, Craig.
Thank you.
This podcast is provided for informational purposes only, and statements made by Strategic Treasure LLC on this podcast are not intended as legal, business, consulting, or tax advice. For more information, visit and bookmark strategictreasurer.com.